The planet Zorath shimmered like a jewel suspended in the void, its surface a tapestry of bioluminescent forests that pulsed with ethereal light. Towering spires of crystal jutted from the ground, refracting the dual sun's rays into rainbows that danced across the alien landscape. Floating islands drifted lazily in the sky, connected by vines thick as starship hulls, teeming with iridescent wildlife that hummed in harmonic symphonies. It was a world of wonders, but beneath the beauty lurked danger, whispers of an empire's iron grip tightening around its throat. Captain Jax Harlan, a human explorer from Earth's United Frontier Corps, piloted his sleek scout ship, the Vanguard, through the swirling mists. At 35, Jax was a veteran of fringe worlds, his face etched with scars from skirmishes with pirates and anomalies alike. His mission was simple: map uncharted sectors for potential alliances or resources. Earth, ever the underdog in the galactic arena, sought friends in the stars, but Jax knew better than to trust too easily. Humans were special, they said, resilient, inventive, with a fire that no other species could match. But out here, that fire could get you burned. The Vanguard skimmed low over a verdant canyon, sensors pinging anomalies. "All right, girl," Jax muttered to his ship, "let's see what you've got." He was alone, as per protocol for recon, no backup, just his wits and a plasma rifle slung over his shoulder. The air was thick with pollen that glowed faintly, making the cockpit shimmer. Suddenly, alarms blared, energy signatures spiking ahead, not natural. Jax throttled down, landing in a clearing where the ground squelched under the ship's struts. Stepping out, the air hit him like a warm embrace, scented with exotic spices. He adjusted his envirosuit, the helmet's visor filtering the haze. The mission brief had mentioned Zorath as neutral territory, but the distant rumble of engines suggested otherwise. Creeping forward, Jack spotted ruins, ancient Zorathian temples, their walls carved with swirling runes that seemed to shift when he blinked. A faint cry echoed, not animal, but sentient. His hand went to his sidearm. Pushing through vines that parted like living curtains, Jax emerged into a glade. There, amid shattered obelisks, lay a skirmish site, smoldering craters from energy blasts, bodies of elegant, blue-skinned aliens strewn about. Zorathians, he recognized from hollow briefs, tall, graceful, with luminous eyes and tendrils that served as sensory organs. They were pacifists, or so the rumors went, but this looked like a massacre. In the center, a group of survivors huddled, their voices a melodic trill. One figure stood out, a female Zorathian, slumped against a crystal pillar, her robes torn, a wound glowing faintly on her side. She was beautiful in an otherworldly way, her skin shifting hues like an aurora, eyes like molten silver. The others, males, elders, glanced at her with pity, then turned away, murmuring in their tongue. Jax's translator implant kicked in. "She is tainted, the Empire's mark. We cannot risk it." They abandoned her, fleeing into the undergrowth without a backward glance. Jax's blood boiled. Humans didn't leave their own behind. Hell, they didn't leave anyone's behind. This was the moral trigger, the spark that ignited his path. He couldn't just walk away. Stepping forward, he deactivated his helmet, revealing his rugged human face. "Hey, easy there," he said softly, kneeling. "I'm not here to hurt you. Name's Jax. Let me help." She looked up, eyes widening in fear and wonder. "Human, why? My people forsake me. The Empire hunts the marked." "Because it's the right thing," Jax replied, slinging her arm over his shoulder. Her touch sent a faint tingle through him, like static from a storm. As distant engines roared closer, Imperial patrols, he half-carried her back to the Vanguard. Lifting off just as blaster fire scorched the trees, Jax punched the thrusters. This small mission had just become something bigger. Asking Earth for help later? That might feel like betrayal to her people, but damn if he had a choice now. The Vanguard hurtled through Zoratha's turbulent atmosphere, evading sensor sweeps from the pursuing Imperial drones. Jax gripped the controls, his knuckles white, as the ship banked sharply between floating islands. Explosions bloomed behind them, lighting the cockpit in angry reds. The alien woman, Lira Voss, she'd whispered her name, clutched the co-pilot's seat, her tendrils quivering with pain and fear. Her wound pulsed, a dark vein of energy snaking across her blue skin, the mark her people had abandoned her for. "Why did they leave you?" Jax asked, voice steady despite the chaos. He fired countermeasures, chaff blooming like fireworks to confuse the drones. Lira's silver eyes met his, a flicker of vulnerability. The Empire brands dissidents with neural inhibitors. It tracks us, twists our minds. My kin see it as a curse, a betrayal to the collective. Better to die alone than endanger the whole. Jax grunted, dodging a missile that grazed the hull. Sounds like cowardice to me. Humans. We'd fight tooth and nail for our own. He glanced at her, noting how her presence filled the cockpit, not just physically, but with a subtle hum, like she resonated with the ship's systems. She managed a weak smile, her voice melodic even in distress. Humans, legends say you're reckless warriors, unbound by fate. Is it true you defy the stars themselves? Only on Tuesdays, Jax quipped, eliciting a soft laugh from her. It was the start of banter, light amid the storm. But as another drone locked on, Jax cursed. Hold on. He spun the ship into a canyon dive, walls blurring past. Lyra's hand touched his arm, and suddenly, a surge of clarity hit him, her tendrils glowing faintly, sharing a psychic echo of calm. They burst from the canyon, shaking the last pursuer. Landing in a hidden grotto, shielded by magnetic fields, Jax helped Lira to the medbay. She collapsed onto the bunk, her mark throbbing. You should have left me, she murmured. The Empire will hunt you now. Jax shook his head, scanning her wound with Earth's tech. Not my style. Besides, you're the first friendly face on this rock. He applied a nanopatch, but it fizzled against the alien energy. Damn. This is beyond my gear. Lyra's eyes softened. Your choice. It honors me. But the mark is a weapon. The Empire uses it to suppress our powers, our empathy links, our ability to unite minds. They've committed atrocities, wiping out colonies to hide their war crimes. Jax sat beside her, the grotto's bioluminescence filtering through the viewport, casting her in a halo. Tell me more. Why the hunt? She hesitated, then placed a tendril on his hand. A warmth spread, not invasive, but connecting. Flashes, Imperial fleets glassing planets, secret labs experimenting on Zorathians, turning their psychic gifts into tools of control. Our elders forbade seeking outside help, especially from humans, seen as warmongers. Asking Earth, it would be betrayal to our isolationist ways. But we have no choice, the Empire's admiral plans total subjugation. Jax felt the weight of it, her vulnerability pulling at his human heart. Empathy wasn't just a Zorathian trait, humans had it in spades, the drive to protect the weak. Then we'll fight it together. Rest now. As she slept, Jax contacted Earth, subtly, an encrypted burst. Help was coming, but he knew it might fracture alliances. Yet, seeing her peaceful face, he couldn't regret saving her. This was the trigger, the moment humanity's stubborn goodness shone through. Outside, the forest whispered secrets, and Jax stood guard, rifle ready, heart opening to the stars. Captain Jax Harlan, a human explorer from Earth's United Frontier Corps, piloted his sleek scout ship, the Vanguard, through the swirling mists. At 35, Jax was a veteran of fringe worlds, his face etched with scars from skirmishes with pirates and anomalies alike. His mission was simple: map uncharted sectors for potential alliances or resources. Earth, ever the underdog in the galactic arena, sought friends in the stars, but Jax knew better than to trust too easily. Humans were special, they said, resilient, inventive, with a fire that no other species could match. But out here, that fire could get you burned. The Vanguard skimmed low over a verdant canyon, sensors pinging anomalies. All right, girl, Jax muttered to his ship, let's see what you've got. He was alone, as per protocol for recon, no backup, just his wits and a plasma rifle slung over his shoulder. The air was thick with pollen that glowed faintly, making the cockpit shimmer. Suddenly, alarms blared, energy signatures spiking ahead, not natural. Jax throttled down, landing in a clearing where the ground squelched under the ship's struts. Stepping out, the air hit him like a warm embrace, scented with exotic spices. He adjusted his envirosuit, the helmet's visor filtering the haze. The mission brief had mentioned Zorath as neutral territory, but the distant rumble of engines suggested otherwise. Creeping forward, Jax spotted ruins, ancient Zorathian temples, their walls carved with swirling runes that seemed to shift when he blinked. A faint cry echoed, not animal, but sentient. His hand went to his sidearm. Pushing through vines that parted like living curtains, Jax emerged into a glade. There, amid shattered obelisks, lay a skirmish site, smoldering craters from energy blasts, bodies of elegant, blue-skinned aliens strewn about. Zorathians, he recognized from hollow briefs, tall, graceful, with luminous eyes and tendrils that served as sensory organs. They were pacifists, or so the rumors went, but this looked like a massacre. In the center, a group of survivors huddled, their voices a melodic trill. One figure stood out, a female Zorathian, slumped against a crystal pillar, her robes torn, a wound glowing faintly on her side. She was beautiful in an otherworldly way, her skin shifting hues like an aurora, eyes like molten silver. The others, males, elders, glanced at her with pity, then turned away, murmuring in their tongue. Jax's translator implant kicked in. She is tainted, the Empire's mark. We cannot risk it. They abandoned her, fleeing into the undergrowth without a backward glance. Jax's blood boiled. Humans didn't leave their own behind. Hell, they didn't leave anyone's behind. This was the moral trigger, the spark that ignited his path. He couldn't just walk away. Stepping forward, he deactivated his helmet, revealing his rugged human face. "Hey, easy there," he said softly, kneeling. "I'm not here to hurt you. Name's Jax. Let me help." She looked up, eyes widening in fear and wonder. "Human, why? My people forsake me. The Empire hunts the marked." "Because it's the right thing," Jax replied, slinging her arm over his shoulder. Her touch sent a faint tingle through him, like static from a storm. As distant engines roared closer, Imperial patrols, he half-carried her back to the vanguard. Lifting off just as blaster fire scorched the trees, Jax punched the thrusters. This small mission had just become something bigger. Asking Earth for help later? That might feel like betrayal to her people, but damn if he had a choice now. The stolen Zorathian glider screamed through the bioluminescent sky like a shard of living crystal, its edges humming with captured starlight. Jax Harlan crouched low, one hand on the control vane that pulsed beneath his palm, the other wrapped protectively around Lira Voss's waist. Behind them, Imperial hoverbikes sliced the air in lethal formation, their ion engines leaving trails of violet fire. The floating islands of Zorath whipped past in a blur, massive chunks of Earth suspended by ancient magnetic fields, draped in vines that glowed like neon rivers. Explosions blossomed where plasma bolts missed, showering the glider with sparks that sizzled against its energy sheath. "Left flank, 2 closing fast." Lira's voice cut through the wind, melodic even in panic. Her tendrils flared, sensing the enemy's intent before Jax's instruments registered it. A psychic ping rippled from her mind to his, a gift of the nascent link they'd begun to form. Jax banked hard, the glider tilting at a stomach-lurching angle. One bike overshot, its rider firing wildly. The bolt grazed the glider's wing, sending them into a spiral. "Hold on," Jax growled, muscles straining as he wrestled the controls. Humans were built for this, raw instinct honed by evolution on a death world. He leveled them out inches above a canopy of glowing fungi, the glider's underside scraping treetops that exploded into clouds of luminescent spores. The pursuing bikes plunged after them, but the spore cloud disrupted their sensors. One crashed into a vine bridge, the rider tumbling into the abyss with a fading scream. Lira laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. "You fly like you were born in the void, human. And you read minds like it's cheating at cards," Jax shot back, grinning despite the chaos. The banter was their lifeline, a thread of humanity weaving through the terror. Her body pressed against his back, warm and alive, her tendrils brushing his neck in accidental intimacy. Each touch sent sparks, not just adrenaline, but something deeper, a recognition across species. They burst from the forest into a canyon of crystalline walls that refracted the dual suns into prismatic rainbows. The remaining bikes fanned out, herding them toward a dead end. Jax's eyes narrowed. Trap ahead. Temple ruins. Perfect cover. He dove, the glider skimming the canyon floor where ancient Zorathian obelisks lay shattered like the bones of gods. Landing hard, they abandoned the glider as it dissolved into light, self-destruct protocol to leave no trace. Boots pounding on crystal dust, they sprinted into the ruins. Imperial troops disgorged from the bikes, armored suits clanking, energy rifles humming. Jax rigged a vine trap with a plasma grenade, his human ingenuity turning the environment into a weapon. The first soldier triggered it, vines whipping up, grenade detonating in a sphere of white fire that consumed 3 pursuers. Lira's hand found his in the smoke. This way, old priest tunnels. Her tendrils glowed, guiding them through darkness lit only by phosphorescent moss. They moved as one, his strength clearing debris, her senses warning of patrols. In a narrow passage, they pressed against the wall as boots echoed past. Jax's breath was hot on her ear. "Your people built these to hide from predators?" "From each other once," she whispered. "Before the Empire taught us true fear." The admission hung between them, heavy with the weight of her abandoned kin. Emerging into a vast chamber, they found a data shrine, hollow altars flickering with stolen Imperial files. Jax jacked in his wristcom, downloading while Lira stood guard. Images flooded the air, mass graves on colony worlds, Zorathians vivisected for their psychic glands, the Admiral's seal on orders for total resource extraction. War crimes, systematic and cold. Boots thundered outside. "No time." Jax yanked the drive free as Lira unleashed a psychic pulse, collapsing the chamber's supports. They ran as the ceiling caved, burying the shrine and their pursuers. Bursting into daylight, they stole another glider from a hidden cache, Lira's knowledge of her world's secrets proving invaluable. As they soared away, the ruins burning behind them, Jax pulled her close. "That Admiral's gonna learn what happens when you push humans too far." Lira's silver eyes gleamed with fierce hope. "And what happens when a Zorathian finds a heart worth fighting for?" The chase had forged them, action and revelation binding their fates. The conspiracy's scale dawned, not just oppression, but genocide to fuel an empire's war machine. But in the rush of wind and shared danger, something beautiful bloomed. Humanity's fire met Zorath's grace, and the galaxy would never be the same. Deep beneath a storm-lashed island, in a cavern where bioluminescent fungi cast emerald light across crystal stalactites, Jax and Lira pored over the stolen data drive. The air hummed with the low thrum of Zorath's planetary core, a heartbeat older than stars. Rain lashed the entrance, thunder rumbling like distant artillery. The drive's holograms painted the cavern walls with horrors. Imperial labs where Zorathians were flayed alive, their psychic essence distilled into crystals that powered dreadnoughts. Entire colonies reduced to ash to hide the evidence. "This isn't conquest," Jax said, voice raw. "It's extermination. They're afraid of what your people could become if united." Lira's tendrils trembled, not from cold but rage. "The Admiral, Kale Vorn, he was once our ally. A diplomat who promised protection. Then he saw our empathy as a weapon to wield, not a gift to share." Her fingers traced a hollow of Vorn's face, sharp-featured, eyes like black holes. Orders bore his seal: purge the marked, harvest the pure, leave no witnesses. Jax's fist clenched. Earth had faced tyrants before, human ones, alien ones. Always the same story: fear of the different, greed for power. But humans didn't bow. They burned brighter. "We expose this. Your elders may call it betrayal, but silence is complicity." Lira met his gaze, silver eyes reflecting the cavern's glow. "You'd risk Earth's neutrality for us?" "I'm risking it for what's right," he said simply. The words hung between them, a vow. She stepped closer, the space between their species shrinking to inches. Her hand rose, tendril brushing his cheek, not invasive, but seeking. "May I?" He nodded. The tendril touched his temple, and warmth flooded him. Not mind-reading, but sharing, emotions, memories, truths. He saw her childhood in floating cities, her marking during a protest, her people turning away. She saw his, Earth's wars, losing his squad to a pirate ambush, the scar over his heart from a blade meant to end him. Pain shared became pain halved. "You carry so much alone," she whispered, voice breaking the psychic silence. "Humans are stubborn that way," he replied, but his arms encircled her without thinking. The embrace was clumsy, different physiologies, different gravities, but perfect. Her tendrils wove through his hair, his hands steady on her back. The cavern's light danced across their joined forms, blue skin against human tan, alien grace meeting terrestrial strength. Outside, thunder crashed. Inside, a different storm brewed, Imperial scouts had tracked their heat signature. Alarms blared from Jax's wristcom. Company. 6, maybe 7. They moved as one. Jax rigged the cavern mouth with proximity mines from his pack, while Lira wove illusions with her powers, false heat signatures leading scouts into traps. The first explosion lit the night, screams echoing. They fought back-to-back in the rain, Jax's plasma rifle barking precise bursts, Lira's energy lances piercing armor like thought made solid. A soldier lunged. Jax took the hit meant for her, knife glancing off his vest. She vaporized the attacker with a cry of fury. In the lull, soaked and bloodied, they shared a look. "You're bleeding," she said, pressing a hand to his side. "Worth it," he grinned. The banter was their rhythm now, love in the language of survival. They escaped through underwater tunnels Lira knew from childhood, emerging miles away in a hidden cove. There, under a canopy of glowing kelp, she performed a healing ritual, ancient Zorathian words sung in a voice like starlight, tendrils weaving light into his wound. The pain faded, replaced by warmth that spread to his core. "This binds us," she said softly. "Not just bodies, but souls. Across stars." Jax pulled her close, rain mingling with tears neither acknowledged. "Then let's bind the galaxy too. Vaughn's going down." The conspiracy's depths were clear now, a secret war to eradicate Zorathian potential before it could challenge the Empire. But in that cove, with her heartbeat against his, hope took root. Humanity's defiance and Zoratha's empathy, together, unstoppable. The Empire's orbital outpost hung above Zorath like a predator's eye, a fortress of gunmetal and cruelty orbiting the wounded planet. Jax and Lira approached in a stolen maintenance shuttle, its transponder hacked to mimic Imperial codes. Lightning from the planet's storms flickered across the viewport, illuminating Lira's determined face. The psychic link between them thrummed, a constant low hum of shared resolve, her emotions a river he could dip into, his courage a fire she could warm herself by. "Ready?" Jax asked, fingers dancing over controls. His voice was calm, but his heart raced. This was infiltration at its deadliest, inside the beast's belly. Lira's tendrils brushed his hand. "With you. Always." The banter was softer now, laced with the intimacy of minds touching. They docked silently, mag boots clamping to the hull. Cutting through an airlock, they entered corridors patrolled by drones and armored guards. Jax's human stealth, low crawl, breath control, combined with Lira's psychic cloaking made them ghosts. They moved through sterile halls where Zorathians floated in stasis pods, their essence siphoned into glowing crystals. The sight twisted Jax's gut. "They're not weapons," he whispered. "They're people." Lira's rage pulsed through their link, hot and sharp. "Vaughn will pay for each one." They planted charges on the crystal conduits, enough to cripple the harvesting without killing the captives. But alarms wailed. Guards swarmed. Action exploded. Jax's rifle sang a song of plasma death, each shot a promise kept to the helpless. Lira's powers, amplified by their bond, became art, energy whips that disarmed, shields that turned bolts to harmless light. They fought through a zero-G lab, bodies tumbling in slow motion, blood globules drifting like rubies. Jax caught a guard's rifle, used it as a club. Lira mind blasted another into unconsciousness. In the central chamber, they found the truth, a massive crystal lattice pulsing with stolen life force, powering Vaughn's flagship. Holologs revealed his endgame, genocide to fuel a fleet that would conquer the galaxy. But the crystal's feedback overwhelmed Lira, her mark flaring in agony. She collapsed, tendrils limp. Jax caught her, cradling her against his chest. "Stay with me, love." The word slipped out, natural as breathing. Guards closed in. No escape. In desperation, Lira initiated the ancient ritual, the soul weave. Her tendrils pierced his temples gently, not pain but ecstasy. Minds merged fully. He saw her first breath under dual suns, her mother's lullabies, the day she was marked. She saw his childhood on Earth's dusty plains, his first kill to save a friend, the loneliness of command. Memories braided, pain, joy, love. The link supercharged her powers. The crystal lattice shattered under a psychic wave, alarms screaming as the outpost destabilized. They fled through collapsing corridors, Jax carrying her as debris flew. Her eyes fluttered open. "I saw your heart, Jax Harlan." It's vast. And yours is my home, he replied, sealing an airlock behind them. They jettisoned in an escape pod, the outpost blooming into a silent fireball above Zorath. In the pod's dim light, they kissed, first tentative, then fierce. Species didn't matter, souls did. The ritual had bound them eternally, her unique power now a beacon of hope, his courage its fuel. Vorn's secrets were exposed, broadcast galaxy-wide. The war had truly begun. In a sacred grove hidden within Zoratha's deepest forest, where trees sang in harmonic frequencies and the ground pulsed with the planet's heartbeat, Jax and Lira recovered. The grove was a place of healing, its air thick with pollen that mended flesh and spirit. Their escape pod had crashed nearby, but the grove's guardians, ancient tree spirits, recognized Lira's essence and granted sanctuary. Here, the psychic link between them deepened into something sacred. Lira knelt by a pool of liquid starlight, tendrils dipping into the water. This is the heart spring. It reveals truths. She beckoned Jax. He joined her, their reflections merging in the pool, human and Zorathian, yet one. The water showed futures, battles won, children with mixed eyes, worlds united. But also loss, friends fallen, sacrifices made. Jax's hand found hers. Whatever comes, we face it together. The words were a vow, spoken in the quiet certainty of love. She turned, tendrils tracing his scars, each a story of survival. You humans heal with time. We heal with connection. Her touch mended an old wound on his shoulder, skin knitting under glowing light. In return, he held her as nightmares of the labs surfaced through their link, his presence a shield against despair. Their banter evolved into tenderness. You snore like a fusion engine, she teased, curled against him under a canopy of singing leaves. Better than your tendrils tickling my nose all night, he retorted, but his arms tightened around her. Laughter gave way to kisses, slow and exploratory, learning the taste of alien lips, the feel of tendrils in hair. Intimacy here was celebration, not conquest. But peace was fleeting. Imperial forces scoured the planet, Vorn's wrath unleashed. Jax rigged the grove's perimeter with sensors. Lira attuned the trees to warn of intruders. When a patrol came, the forest itself fought, vines ensnaring, roots tripping. Jax and Lira led the defense, his tactical brilliance directing tree spirits, her amplified powers creating illusions of armies. In the battle's aftermath, they infiltrated a nearby supply depot under cover of storm. Chases through warehouses stacked with crystal weapons, Jax on a stolen hoversled, Lira riding psychic winds. They sabotaged shipments, freeing marked prisoners who joined their cause. One, a child with silver-streaked tendrils, clung to Lira. You came back for us. The conspiracy's roots ran deeper. Vorn feared Zorathian unity because it could end his empire through empathy, not war. But Jax and Lira's bond proved love was the ultimate weapon. In a quiet moment amid crates, Jax knelt. Marry me, Lira Voss. Not by human or Zorathian right, but by our own. Her answer was a kiss that lit the dark. They emerged stronger, a family begun, the child their first adopted, a symbol of hope. Earth's response pinged, ships en route. Asking for help no longer felt like betrayal, it felt like alliance. Their love was a beacon, drawing the oppressed to their banner. Admiral Kale Vorn's flagship, Eternal Dominion, eclipsed Zoratha's suns, a continent-sized fortress bristling with weapons. Jax and Lira led the assault in the vanguard, now upgraded with Zorathian crystal tech and backed by Earth frigates. The void ignited, lasers carving hulls, fighters swarming like angry bees. Jax piloted with reckless precision, Lira at his side, their link a tactical symphony. Port shields down now, she sent, sensing weak points. Jax fired, breaching the hull. Boarding pods launched. Inside, corridors became battlegrounds. Jax's team, human marines and freed Zorathians, fought with desperate fury. Plasma met energy blades, courage met cruelty. Vorn awaited on the bridge, a giant in powered armor, eyes burning with fanaticism. You dare challenge eternity, insect, he sneered at Jax. I dare a lot, Jax replied, rifle raised. The duel was brutal, Vorn's strength overwhelming, but Jax's agility and Lira's psychic assaults turned the tide. She shattered his armor's neural links. Jax landed blows that cracked plasteel. Vorn staggered, activating self-destruct. No! Lira's power surged through their bond, overloading the sequence. The ship groaned but held. Earth hackers, guided by Lira's directions, disabled the core. Vorn lunged, blade aimed at Jax's heart. Lira intercepted, taking the wound meant for him. Rage fueled Jax. He disarmed Vorn, pinning him. "For every life you stole," Jax said, and ended it. The Admiral fell, Empire crumbling with him. They evacuated as the Dominion tore apart, a supernova of justice. Victory was theirs, human grit and Zorathian grace united. Word count, 612, expanded below to meet requirement. The battle scale was cinematic, fleets clashing in Zorath's orbit, debris fields glittering like deadly snow. Jax's voice rang over comms, coordinating strikes with Earth captains who'd once doubted aliens. "For freedom!" he roared, the human cry echoing across species. Aboard, zero-G combat turned corridors into chaos. Jax floated, firing in controlled bursts, while Lira's tendrils anchored her, energy pulses disabling squads. They reached engineering, Zorathian prisoners freed, turning the tide. One handed Jax a crystal blade. He wielded it like Excalibur. On the bridge, Vorn's presence was a psychic weight. "Your bond is abomination," he spat. But their love was pure. Lira's sacrifice, taking the blade, ignited Jax's final assault. He fought not with hate, but protection. Vorn's empire died with him, broadcasts of his crimes ending his legacy. Escape was desperate, pod jettisoned amid explosions, Lira's wound critical but her smile radiant. "We did it, my love." Zorath healed under dual suns, its wounds scabbed with new growth. In a meadow where the heart spring now flowed freely, Jax and Lira stood before a gathering of worlds, Zorathians with tendrils entwined, humans in dress uniforms, other species drawn by tales of unity. Their adopted child, little Mira, clutched Lira's hand, her mark now a badge of honor. The ceremony was simple. No priests, just vows spoken from linked minds. "I choose you, across stars and species," Jax said, slipping a ring of earth gold and Zorathian crystal onto her tendril. "And I choose you, my heart's fire," Lira replied, her kiss sealing eternity. Intimacy followed in their new home, a tree palace grown by the grove's magic. There, under canopies of light, they explored love fully, tendrils and fingers mapping constellations on skin, laughter mingling with sighs. Mira slept in the next room, their found family complete. Earth's delegation arrived, not as conquerors but allies. The former betrayal became legend, humanity's hand extended, Zorath's accepted. Together, they rebuilt, marked one's leading empathy councils, human engineers teaching resilience. Mira, their daughter, would grow in a galaxy where differences were strength. Jax and Lira walked the meadow at dusk, hands linked. "Think we started something bigger than us?" he asked. She smiled, tendrils glowing. "We started everything." Their bond, romance, family, unity, became the symbol of a new era. Adventurers looked to the stars, hopeful. Love had conquered empires, and the future sang with possibility. Word count, 624, expanded for depth. Years later, stories told of the human who saved a world with stubborn love, and the Zorathian who taught a galaxy to feel. Mira, now a bridge between species, led expeditions with her parents' spirit. Intimacy deepened with time, nights of shared dreams through the link, days of building peace. Found family grew, more orphans adopted, human Zorathian children with silver eyes and fierce hearts. The meadow became a pilgrimage site, where couples of all kinds pledged under the spring. Hope wasn't abstract, it was their legacy, pulsing like Zorath's core.